Zelfa Barrett versus Jason Sanchez. This one is happening on the undercard of Rakhimov Cordina. Barrett is a big favorite in this one from what I've seen so far, but I think it might be a little closer than people might think. Let's get into it. Let's start with Barrett. 28 wins, 2 losses, 16 wins by way of knockout, man. I like Barrett. I think he's improved a lot over the years, especially after his first loss against Ronnie Clark back in 2018, I believe it was, where he lost by a mixed decision, right? He came back after that, got a stoppage win against Eric Donovan and beat Kiko Martinez. And we know how tough Kiko Martinez is. You can't always pay attention to the losses with certain guys because Kiko is tough. He's going to test your toughness. He's going to push you out of your comfort zone, and he's going to make you fight. And you won't be able to just box him from the outside all night long. Martinez, at some point, you're going to have to face him in the middle of the ring. I wanted to see his mental toughness when that pressure is coming his way. Can you stand your ground when the pressure is on? And I know that was a fight where people had mixed decisions about on that outcome, right? But I think it was a fight that Barrett benefited from and helped him in that actual Rakhimov fight that we'll talk about in just a little bit, right? But he needed that tough fight against Kiko. I thought he boxed well, showed good footwork and good angles, showed good pop, and showed he had a good chin. Now, the result favored Barrett, but, I wouldn't mind seeing that rematch again because of all of the controversial aspects that kind of came with that fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that rematch maybe down the road. Then after Kiko Martinez, Barrett steps into the ring to fight Farouk Kurbanov, who fought Joe Cordina and gave him a good fight. So despite the losses, this was going to be a different test for Barrett. Kurbanov is a solid fighter, and you're going to have to think your way in, right? He has good fundamentals, good solid foundation. But man, did Barrett ever show who was in control of that fight from start to finish. And it was clear that it was him. He was in control from the start, used the speed, body shots, good counter-punching ability, the good head movement, good foot movement. Man, he was just locked in and focused and ready. And that night, it was his. That night, it was an easy win on the cards for Zelfa Barrett. Now, in his most recent fight where he fought Shavkat Rakhimov, right, even though he lost that fight personally, I don't think his stop dropped. Right, he fought great for 8 rounds. I was very impressed with his work rate, with his shot selection, with his accuracy, right, and his footwork, and just some of the adjustments that he made. That was one of the best fights that I've seen of him, despite the loss. And then, whether his legs were tired or it was a cramp, he didn't recover once his legs was gone against Rakhimov, who's just a relentless guy. And if he senses a moment of weakness or a loss or lack of focus for a split second, he is going to make you pay. And we saw what happened the rest of that fight. This is a big fight coming off of a loss for Barrett. He's only got 2 losses, and you can still get into some big fights with losses on your resume, of course, right? But he's going to have to get it together and come back and put on a spectacular performance and come back strong. But let's talk about his opponent, Jason Sanchez, because he is not going to make it easy on Zelfa Barrett. 16 wins, 3 losses, 9 wins by way of knockout. His 3 losses were from facing Oscar Valdez in 19, from Christopher Diaz and Adam Lopez. Those cats are not chopped liver, right? Those are all tough fights against quality, strong opposition. And that's what Sanchez is going to do. He fought those guys tough. He's going to bring that toughness in the fight. And while he doesn't have a lot of knockouts, he's got some good pop, right? He's a good counter puncher, decent footwork. He's patient, and he doesn't force the fight, right? He takes what is there. He takes what is given to him and lets his hands go at the right time that makes sense for him. Now, when he fought Oscar Valdez, despite what the scorecard says, right, he gave Oscar Valdez a tough fight, right? Valdez, who was known for his power, he dropped Sanchez in the 5th round, but Valdez wasn't able to capitalize and finish off the fight. And best believe he tried to do, but he just wasn't able to do it. Sanchez fought back, won a couple rounds after the knockdown, so he's got a lot of heart, a lot of will, and he's never lost a fight by way of stoppage, so he's got a strong chin. Now, when he fought Christopher Diaz, that was an all-action fight where I felt that Sanchez defense lacked, and a fight where Diaz just controlled that fight and showed that night that he was just the better guy. But I also think Sanchez kind of had a bit of an off night because he is better than the performance that he displayed on that night. After he fights Diaz, he goes to fight Adam Lopez, and we know how tough Blue Nose is. Right? And that was a great matchup, a great fight for both men. Lopez had some good moments. Sanchez had some good moments. Lopez had success landing some of those sneaky uppercuts. Sanchez was countering well, hitting the body well, bringing the pressure. It was a close range type of fight for a good portion of that fight. And both men landed some big shots and showed a lot of heart, a lot of toughness. Going into the 6th round, man, I personally had Sanchez up on the cards. And that's because he got Lopez to fight his fight. That inside close range and pressure on the inside where he doesn't have to do too much moving around the ring to try to find you. But if you're right there, right in front of him, there's a good chance, man, that's the exact spot that he wants you to be in. Going into the 7th, 8th, and 9th, Blue Nose made some adjustments, started boxing a little bit more, right? Slipping on the outside, using his jab, making his defense and head movement more of a priority. And that's when he started to steal some of those later rounds to get the win. It was another close fight. And in his most recent fight against Rafael Reyes, he looked very good, accurate, sharp, patient. He did his thing, but at the same time, man, Reyes had a record of 20-15. You're supposed to put on a good performance when you are facing opposition that isn't as strong as you, but nonetheless, he got the stoppage win, and he looked pretty good doing it as well. So this is going to be a good fight. So who wins? I'm very interested to see what Barrett will look like and feel like coming off a loss, and then going into the later rounds, what will his conditioning look like? If he's getting pressure, what will it look like? But I'm taking Zelfa Barrett to win this one by decision. I think it'll be tough for Sanchez to get in and get his shots off. He's not really a big volume puncher like that. I don't believe Barrett is going to stand there and trade with him either. I think he'll come in. I think he'll play it safe and box on the outside. But at the same time, I think if there's going to be an upset on this card, it could be this one. Because Sanchez is tough, he's talented, and has skills and a lot of will. And I've said before on the channel, sometimes, man, the heart and the will can actually outdo the skill. So again, if there's going to be an upset, personally, I think it could be this fight. However, I'm leaning towards Zelfa Barrett to win this one by decision. And here's the other thing for me. Unless Sanchez knocks him out, I don't see Barrett losing a decision at home. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. We also just started a membership on the channel. I don't always get to do all of the suggested videos that I see inside of the comments, but if you become a member, you get suggested video priority, meaning when I see it, I will do my best to get those videos out to you. Or if you'd like to just join the membership just to show support for the channel, man, that would be greatly appreciated. Shout out to all of the members already. I appreciate each of you. Everybody that continues to like, share, subscribe, I really appreciate you as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.